Hi, I'm Tara Unversad. I am owner and senior lead planner here at South Bay Financial Partners, and I'm here to talk about compounding returns. I recently had an interaction with a group of DePaul students, and their biggest takeaway from our conversation was about compounding returns. And I told them about an example, and they were just gobsmacked, and I thought I'd share it here with you. I will share a chart that's not really the prettiest chart or easiest one to read, but it gives you the general idea. So note the input that we're starting with is a 6% annual return. So this is if you make contributions to an account that is invested in the stock market, an index, something like that, and is getting 6% return, which I picked 6% because in the past, the lowest annual return, average return for a 20-year period was 6%. So most of the time in the past, over a 20-year period, if you invested $10,000 in year one, 20 years later, you would have had an annual return of 6%. That's not to say that you have an annual return of 6% every year. Some years you might have 18% return. Some years you might have 25% down, a negative return. So the stock market goes up and down. You need to be ready for that if you're going to invest. If you're investing, you really should be investing for no less than 10 years. In a 10-year period, it could be negative. If you put $10,000 in year one, and year 10, it could be less than $10,000. But 12 years to 20 years and beyond, in the past, it has never been negative. And so that's a key point that a lot of people don't know about investing in the stock market. Do not invest in the stock market any money that you need in 6 months, in 2 years. The stock market could be down. You could have less than what you put in that short amount of time. But if you let it ride and you keep it in for 20 or 30 years, that's where you get the big payback. That's why everybody tells you to invest in a retirement fund, a 401k or an IRA, and to invest in stocks for that, because most likely in the past, well, always in the past, over 20, 30 years, you did win. You did get a really big return on that. So the only thing we know about the future is that it's going to be nothing like the past. But if going forward, there's a high chance, and most people are expecting, a prudent person would expect that if you are investing for the long term, 20, 30, 40 years, that probably the money that you put in now will be worth more later, which is why people invest in the stock market. No promises. My disclaimer, I can't predict the future. That could not be true in our future. But using past experience as a example, 6% return is an okay return for a 20-year period of time. And we are talking about a 44-year period of time, as you can see here. So over 44 years, getting a 6% return is something that could happen. And so if that did happen and you were contributing $10,000 in year one and year two, all the way up until year 11, and each year you put in $10,000 into an investment that was invested in the stock market, and it was on average getting 6% return, then that second year, that first $10,000 now has $600 growth. It's gone up by 6%. So that 10,000 is now 10,600. And now you're putting another $10,000 in. So now that account has $20,600. And the next year, you're putting in another $10,000. And those first two 10,000 are not 20,000, but they're 21,836. And you're adding another $10,000. So as you can see, as you add these $10,000 and you let it grow, and that growth stays in there, that 6% stays in that account, it gets bigger and bigger. And so when you get to the 11th year, you now have almost $150,000. And if you stopped contributing, you never put another dime in that account, but you left it invested, getting an average of 6% annual return, and it just was continuing to grow, you would end up with $1 million at 44. Now note, I took 44 because if you started at 22 and you retired at 66, and you did the first 10 years from 22 to 33, you put in $10,000. At 66, when you retire, you will have $1 million in there. And $10,000, that's not even $1,000 a month, and a lot of people can't afford that. Not everybody, but a lot of people. And if you can't afford that, do less. And 1,000 a month would be actually 12,000. So that's not even how much I'm talking about here. And note that when we got to this 11th year, we've only contributed $110,000, but the value of the account at that point is $150,000. So we already have an extra $40,000 in the account just from that 6% return. And from then on, note that it goes from about 150,000 to 159,000, almost $10,000 more. So you can see how it's now putting in that $11,000 or $10,000 for you. You're not putting a $10,000 in, but the 6% return is putting in a $10,000 every year, and it keeps growing. And if you go down to the 22nd year, now you've put in 110 and you're at 284. That's more than double that 110 that you did. And note that from 184,022 to 100 year 23, we're now talking $13,000 that's being added from that 6% growth. So you only put $10,000 in, but by year 22, your money is putting more than $10,000 in, and it just keeps growing from there. And this last year, it was 966, and it goes up to $1 million. So that's for $34,000. Your money put $34,000 into that account for you. You put not a dime in there to get to that $1 million. That is what we talk about when we talk about passive income. A lot of people think about real estate. You did zero for that money. All you did was put it in and let it ride. So that is 100% passive income. And that is the kind of investment that really pays you back as you go forward. And this is the power of compounding. Now, I want to give a comparison. If at 22, you decide you can't afford to put $10,000 in because you have so many bills to pay, and you wait until the 12th year. So the first 11 years, you put in zero. And in the 12th year, you start putting in $10,000, and you put in $10,000 every year, getting the 6% return. So the second year now, you're going to have $10,000 from the first year. You're going to have $600 of growth from that first year, and then another $10,000 from the second year. So now you're going to have $20,600 here, just like you had it up here, but you're just starting a little later, right? But in this example, I'm adding $10,000 every single year, and my account is growing by the 6%, just like it was over here. But over here, I stopped giving 10% after that first 12 years. Now I'm from year 12 all the way down to 44. I'm putting in $10,000 every year, all the way down to the bottom. And as you can see, I don't even get to $1 million by the time I'm 66. So because I started in the 12th year instead and did nothing in the first 11 years, because I started in that 12th year and delayed, I end up with less. And how much did I put in? I put in $310,000 in those years, as opposed to $110,000 for that first 11. And yet that first putting that $110,000 ended up at $1 million. And this $310,000 contribution only ended up at $973,000. So you can see how if you get the earlier you get started, the more bang you get. And that is the power of compounding. And I'm going to say, if you are 40 and you feel like it's too late to join the game, it is not too late to join the game. Yes, it's great to start early. It's great. Warren Buffett started at 14. That's one of the reasons why he got where he did. You don't have to start at 14. You don't have to start at 22. It's better to start today than tomorrow. Yeah, it was better to start yesterday than today. Absolutely. Not going to deny that. But if you didn't start yesterday, don't wait till tomorrow. Start today. Start as soon as you can, starting this compounding. And then this is a lot of numbers and a lot of graphs, and a lot of people glaze over, and I totally understand it. So I did put it in graph form. So this top blue line is that putting $10,000 in for 11 years, never putting in another dime. And you see how it just grows and grows and grows with a 6% average annual return. And that's the bottom blue line. The comparison is you did nothing for 11 years, and then you put in $10,000 every single year for the next 44 years, and you just never catch up. This gap that you have at the beginning, you just, even though you stop contributing, you never, ever catch up. And your money isn't working. You don't have as much money working for you in those later years. So it's the first one is contributing for 11 years and stopping versus waiting 11 years and contributing for the rest. Definitely you win every single time if you start early. So start now. If it's a small amount, if it's $10 every paycheck, better than nothing. If it's $100, even better, 10 times better. But it doesn't matter the amount. What matters is getting started. So I encourage you, start today, start investing. Even if it's just putting it in a money market that's earning 5% right now, don't miss out. Do not leave your money in a checking account that's earning nothing. And even your emergency fund can go into that money market. It's completely liquid. You can use it anytime, but it's earning money while it's sitting there. If you can put money into a Roth IRA, if you're a lower income person, talk to us in our community, Your Amazing Financial Life. You can see that, find that at YAFL, YAFL, Your Amazing Financial Life, YAFL.southbayfinancialpartners.com. There's a link below. Go over there to ask us if it makes more sense for you to use a Roth IRA or a traditional, or if you have a 401k at work, should you be using that? Should you be using a combination of IRAs and Roth and 401ks at work? Each person is different. We have a lot of people come to us and we have to fix their mistakes because they contribute to a Roth IRA because they heard that that was the best thing to do. But for them, that wasn't the best thing to do. And we help them fix that problem. So if you made that mistake, also come to us. We can help you fix it. And we can help you decide, is a Roth IRA the right thing for you, or is some other vehicle the right thing for you? But get started now. Your future self will be so happy you did.